Although I am involved with CADAC, the Center of ADHD Awareness Canada, the views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of the participants and do not reflect those of CADAC. And now, cue the music.
This is the Impulsive Thinker Podcast, a show for high-achieving ADHD entrepreneurs. Together, we will inform and educate you about how to improve your self-awareness while developing systems, routines, and habits for conquering the entrepreneurial world. Here is your host, Andre Brisson.
Hey there, it's Andre here with another short for the Impulsive Thinker Podcast, the podcast for the high-achieving ADHD entrepreneur. This episode is brought to you by CADAC, the Center of ADHD Awareness Canada. You can get more information and you can donate at www.cadddac.ca. This week I had another chat again with Kathy Colby. She's the creator of the Colby Wisdom and Cognitive Strengths and Talents. When we talked about the Colby A2 in a few weeks ago. But this week we talked about playing a character. And I want to talk a little more about this, why this topic was important to me to talk with Kathy. We have great conversations along those lines, and I love her for that. The one thing I wanted to do is to talk about another character, playing another character, because that's after my diagnosis, going through some therapy and being able to calm down, settle down, start to think things through. That's when I came to terms that I played a character for over 40 years of my life, and that character was not the true me. And why was that? So undiagnosed ADHD, quite a few of us will understand, sets us up as different. We do things differently. If you're hyperactive or impulsivity, just makes us outliers, completely different. You're not normal. You're not doing what's normally done and what's socially accepted by people we don't even know. That makes sense. So with time, to fit in and to receive less of the negative feedback, we actually kind of start being someone we are not. And if you do that long enough, this is where I kind of theorize and kind of think about is we do this long enough, we start, actually, at the beginning, we start playing a character. We know we can't do this, so we will do this. We're playing someone else. But what I realized was after you've done it for decades, you start to believe you are that character, and you actually, your brain, your mind, your habits form to be habitual, and you no longer think about it, and you're just now this different person. We did this so that we can fit in, so we would not get negative attention or criticism from our families, from our friends, our teachers, our bosses. So, and some of us, I guarantee you, for a lot of us, we know that's not right, but that's what we have to do. And that's another topic for another day, but that's, we got the wrong people around us, but we'll figure that out later. And so after a while, we start to accept these norms as normal. Our brain starts to accept that and just expect it, and it becomes a habit. And when it becomes a habit routine, you're not thinking about it, it just is. After a while, I've convinced myself that my own wants and needs of not being worthy or even silly fall in line with others' sense of worthiness and needs. So in a way, we're also now falling to peer pressure to say, okay, if everyone in this group that I want to be part of believes that we should just sit there and calmly drink tea with our finger in the air, and I start doing that to be accepted, after a while doing it all the time, your brain's not going to say, that's not how it's normally done. It's kind of silly. Just go, that's what you need to do, and do it. We don't even differentiate that is a potential problem or it's not what you want to do, but it's what you're supposed to do. Okay, tea drinking is probably a bad example, but I think we can put those two pieces together. So now looking back at my recollections here, I'll tell you one thing. I got really, really good at playing this new character to the point that I lost myself, to the point that I just never thought that this other person that was inside of me wanted out and just wanted recognition and just wanted to be free to be themselves. And I no longer know myself. And I know that this person character was not me, but it has to be me. Okay. Yeah. It just looked like I just read that because I just kind of was free writing at the beginning. And this is a big one that came out. I knew that this person / character that I was playing was not me, but it had to be me. It had to be me so I can get love and attention, positive attention from family, from friends, from coworkers, for me to be able to get more work or to be able to go in most social situations, not have to describe and explain and apologize for things I don't need to apologize for. Does that resonate with you? That it had to be you, but you know it's not you? And that was my constant struggle in my life. That screws with your mind. That messes with your mind. It screws with your mental health, especially when you know that's not who you are, but this is what you had to be. What does that tell you? What does yourself tell you about you on that? It's not necessarily the external effects and energies effects. My brain was having a battle. You're better than this. No, you're not supposed to do that. This is how we're supposed to do. Like, you're having an argument and yourself is hating yourself and yourself is sticking up for yourself. Do that for 40 years and see how you come out the other end. Having said that, since I got my diagnosis and I started to learn a lot, I made this revelation. I'm still to this day having a constant struggle separating myself, my true self, from this character. I'm constantly questioning if the values, the goals are what I truly want or what character wants. How I do things, how I'm going to pursue things, how my drive, my selection of things to do. Is it me, the true me that wants this, or is it my character? I've always been accused I don't do things. I don't make business decisions. I don't do engineering projects. I don't talk to customers. I don't do customer relations by the book. Well, I'll tell you one thing. What I learned is when I did it by the book, that's when I did not succeed. So I just started going, this is natural for me and it's working. And I might be different than others, but it's working. I see things differently and it's working. That's when I got the success. So that's that constant struggle. So having this realization that I had this character, and I got to separate the goals from my true self. Like, who's trying to control me right now? I've even had to start questioning current relationships. Are those relationships around because of that character I played? Or is it because I truly want them around? Or it supports my true self? But the one thing that kept me sane from all this, I think, if it wasn't for this knowledge or ability, I don't know if it's ability, but just this need to understand myself. But that's what kept me sane through all this. And that's how I'm able to continue. I was able to get out of that character because I've had this constant need and want and ability about self-discovery and self-understanding. So it's a journey that I did for many years. But at the time I was doing it to find out what was wrong with me to fix it. So to fit in with the norm. But just that ability and want to understand myself more was able to get me out of this. So now I can actually start seeing my strengths as my strengths and not identify my weaknesses and make those strengths so I can fit in. That's why I have such a passion for helping people understand themselves and then give them permission and to validate them to do what they do best and to advocate, to be able to speak and explain why this is the best way for them. When I see people succeed at their abilities, I thrive. And when I can help someone to advocate so they can change the way they do things, so they can do things better, it's fantastic. Just in a quick recap here, based on the conversation we just had with Kathy Colby there, is basically, remember this. We all have a purpose. We all have purpose. We are equally creative and solve problems differently. We are all equally good at different things. Understand your strengths and talents that are different than yours. Are you playing a character, or have you played a character? Are you struggling with who your character, what your wants, needs right now? Is it your character or is it truly you? I'd like to hear from you what you think about this short, because this is a big conversation I'd like to have with a lot of people. If you can send me an email at andre@andreb.ca, it'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks again for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Impulsive Thinker podcast. If you have a question, comment, or suggestion for the show, please visit theimpulsivethinker.com. The Impulsive Thinker podcast is produced by Tactical Breakthroughs and hosted by Andre Brisson. Remember, ADHD is only a part of you, not all of you.